I'm Tammy Bruce, filling in for Bill Whittle, and this is Trifecta. Today is September 11th, 2012, the 11th anniversary of the horrific Islamist terrorist attacks that shook our nation, and yet the confessed mastermind of that vicious attack has yet to face justice. Has the military tribunal at Guantanmo Bay lost control of the proceedings? Has political correctness, which so plagues our society, made it impossible even for our military to take action against our enemies? To help answer that question, I'm joined by two of the smartest guys out there, Stephen Green and Scott Ott. Much has changed since 9/11, and you'll be hearing a lot from President Obama this election season about how he killed Osama bin Laden. The bin Laden raid, in motion for more than a decade, did dispatch that genocidal caveman, but when it comes to the confessed mastermind of 9/11, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the wheels of justice are not only stuck, they seem to be in reverse. Mohammed and four other alleged 9/11 co-conspirators are due to be tried at Gitmo for the murders of 2,976 people. Yet the defense teams now say the actual trial will probably not get underway for another 4 years, a full 15 years after the attacks themselves. Steve, the defense team argues they need more time to look over all the material gathered during the past 11 years. Do you believe that that's the case, or is something else afoot here?
15 years. You expect the Pentagon to operate in CYA mode in peacetime. It's a bureaucratic organization. But this is a war. CYA, all that stuff has to get dropped by the wayside. And this is it. This is the last thing we have to do to clean up 9/11. I don't mean the global war on terror, the whole thing. But for 9/11, this is it. We've got al-Qaeda on the ropes, bin Laden dead, the Taliban will come back, but so what? We're rebuilding the World Trade Center. So this is the one thing we still have to do, is put this guy on trial, give him a fair one, then slip a needle in his arm and kiss him nighty-night. After 11 years, 15 years, we can't do that. Yeah. How long do we waste trying to try this thing in New York City? And what I don't understand is why we're doing this at all. Is this some sort of a long-form bow from the president?
Yeah, it's very strange, and to say nothing of the closure that family members need. Family members are going to start to pass away, too. It's really horrible. Scott, this news comes on the heels of a hearing at Gitmo in May that enraged 9/11 families who called the proceedings a farce and a debacle and a joke, as the defendants themselves made a mockery of the process. Listen to a Gitmo defense attorney complain that women prosecutors had offended the defendants because they wore skirts.
There was somebody dressed in a way that was not in keeping with my client's religious beliefs.
Scott, what can be done to stop what appears to me, and certainly to the 9/11 families, as an abuse of the system in the name of religion?
Well, see, this is a fundamental problem. We're trying to follow the rule of law that is designed for citizens of the United States. Because if one of the three of us committed some sort of crime and we were charged with that crime, we would endeavor to prove that we were not guilty of that crime. We would endeavor to prove that we were innocent, that we had not done what they said we did. But these guys are not trying to prove that they're innocent. They're trying to prove that our entire system is guilty. They're trying to tear down the entire system of justice based upon the Judeo-Christian ethic that the framers and the founders put together. They believe that Sharia law should dominate the planet. And so the fact that we give these guys the benefit of the doubt in our due process of law is a circus in itself. I mean, part of me just wants to say, hey, why don't you just release these guys out in the desert and tell President Obama to call up one of his Predator drones again?
Not a bad idea. One of the Gitmo detainees, by the way, now has a cat, we're told, so at least they're comfortable. Steve, all of us were particularly amused by the remarkable transformation of 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. When he was captured, he kind of looked like Rosie O'Donnell after a bad night. And during his time at Gitmo, he transformed into the crazy Islamist uncle in the attic after a long night. What's up with that, do you think?
Oh, gosh, from Rosie O'Donnell to your crazy Islamist uncle. You know, on the old school internet discussion boards, this is what we used to call distinction without a difference. You know what? I think Scott's onto something here, though. We've made a mistake, and it goes back to President Bush. Terrorists are no better than enemy spies during wartime or pirates in the 17th century, and you didn't give them trials fair otherwise. You squeeze them for information, and then you shoot them, or you hang them from a yardarm. This idea that terrorists can be tried and jailed, it's a dangerous one. What Scott said is exactly right. Squeeze them and kill them. Problem solved, and it doesn't take 15 years.
I want a country run by us. We'd solve so many problems so quickly. Scott, virtually the same situation, though, is happening in Texas during the attempts to begin the trial of the Fort Hood shooting rampage suspect, the Islamist Nidal Hassan. This guy grew a beard in prison. He refuses to shave it, declaring it would be a sin, but of course, apparently murdering people isn't. This issue will delay that trial for several more weeks. Let's help the justice system a little bit if we can. Any suggestions on how to deal with this situation and Nidal's beard?
Yeah, I would like to get Dick Cheney and this Major Nidal Hassan and Donald Rumsfeld in a room and have Cheney and Rumsfeld Barbasol board him. I want them to drip shaving cream over his nostrils and mouth as they're in the process of shaving him. Yeah, this whole thing is a scandal of the American justice system. I mean, you know, he's growing a beard. My goodness, that picture of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is absolutely frightening. It looks like his chest hair has grown up to envelop his face. They better shave him quick or he'll suffocate. We've got to stop this nonsense. There is the moral equivalency argument that's been made by the good-hearted liberals in our justice system is killing us.
Yeah, I agree. Well, everybody, we know we have the best justice system and the most remarkable military in the history of the world, but they're not insulated from a political and popular culture where the death of right and wrong is still far too prevalent and has too many advocates. It's also a reminder of the importance of having a commander-in-chief, attorney general, and secretary of state who believe in this country and don't think she needs to be apologized for. For all our military greatness and in the name of those who perished on 9/11, we all deserve better. For PJTV, I'm Tammy Bruce.